Hi, this is Ajay Krishnadas. I'm making a recording. More specifically, what I want to do is I'll give you a few arguments, or I'll show you some ways on how to defeat atheistic philosophy. And I'll just mention, I'll go through two different quotes today, which are atheistic quotes. And more specifically, it's quotes I met in a debate yesterday on Facebook. The quotes are from a New Age group, and in the New Age philosophy, which is actually quite spiritual in many ways, or at least it's supposed to be spiritual, it contains a lot of atheistic philosophy. So that's because New Age people are actually materialists who are gradually starting to get an interest in spiritual things, and of course they think they're very spiritual, but actually they haven't really started their spiritual journey yet. So they will present a lot of atheistic philosophy. So let us take a look at some of the quotes I met in my debate yesterday. And the first quote looks like this: "A wise person is full of questions, and a dull person is full of answers." So immediately many of these New Age people, they will start, to say, wow, this is really super profound, esoteric, spiritual knowledge from the East. Very deep. This is the deep knowledge that will, defeat the old religions, the old dogmas. Now you have to ask questions only. There are no real answers, and you have to. If a person has answers, you shouldn't listen because then he's dull. They'll immediately start to glorify this so-called type of knowledge. So I'll show you now, in a very simple way, why this is foolishness. This is complete self-defeating stupidity. And I'm not saying that to be rude, it's simply just an objective fact. If you just use a little logic, you'll see that this statement is self-defeating. So what you have to do, very simply, if a person tells you or gives you this quote or a similar quote, you have to ask, is that a question or an answer? Well, it's not a question. There are no question marks in the end of the quote, and it's actually an answer. And you can see it's the answer to the question: how can you tell the difference between a wise and a dull person? So if this is an answer, you can see. So this quote is an answer. It's not from a wise person. A wise person would, according to this philosophy or according to the statement itself, he would simply have asked, what is the difference between a wise and a dull person? He wouldn't have looked for an answer. He would have asked a question. So since this quote is an answer, it's from a dull person, and the philosophy contained in the quote is self-defeating. You cannot use it. It's simply it's really stupidity. So let's go on to the next. It's a very similar statement. The next statement I have, which I saw in my debate, and you can see here: he who talks does not know, and he who knows does not talk. Again, spiritual or many New Age people immediately will say, wow, this is profound, very deep esoteric knowledge, and they will become completely flabbergasted in awe and reverence of this type of self-defeating stupidity. And again, you simply have to ask them one question: isn't that talking? If it's talking, which it is, then, since it's talking, it's from a person who doesn't know. Anyone saying this is, according to the statement itself, an ignorant person, because that person doesn't know anything. If you actually had knowledge, you wouldn't come up with this. You wouldn't say it. So the person in the debate, or any person using this statement, does not know according to the statement itself, and therefore the philosophy in the statement is simply self-defeating, and any person who uses it simply cannot think properly. And if we go back to the previous statement that a wise person asks questions and a dull person has answers, but what is the point of asking questions if you can't get any answers? It just would simply be a waste of time. The whole purpose of a question is to look for an answer. And of course, it's good to have answers, because if you haven't got any answers, you cannot do anything. You cannot even get out of your bed in the morning. If you cannot ask the question, how should I get out of my bed this morning, or what should I do today, and what is the best solution to this problem. If you don't have answers for these questions, you'll not be able to do anything. If you don't have a question to the answer, how do I get out of bed in the morning, you wouldn't be able to use your body to get out of bed. But of course, these so-called spiritual New Age people, they are often not able to see this. This is childish. It's simply ABC kindergarten logic that this is self-defeating. So, please be aware of these type of foolish quotes and arguments, and learn how to defeat them. And thank you very much for listening. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, then please post them below and let the debate continue. Thank you very much.